In this 20 card regrade submission from PSA to CGC, something absolutely insane happened. I have absolutely peaked. Can't get much better than this. I turned a PSA 8 into a CGC Pristine, making thousands in profit. Let's go through each card, and at the end, I'll give myself a letter grade to see how I did. Let's get right to it. First up in this submission is Hitmonlee First Edition. I got this one in a PSA 7. I thought it looked very nice. I took the bold decision to try to guess that it was going to get a 10. I was angry at PSA for giving this card such a low grade. I was like, how can you, PSA, you idiot? And CGC ended up giving this card a 10. So I feel vindicated. I feel correct. Awesome. What a great way to start off this submission. Things are looking great. Surely, you know, we can continue this as we move forward throughout the submission, right? I'm sure there won't be any more surprises in store. Okay, well, I guess we'll see. Second card of this submission is Articuno Fossil Hollow First Edition. I also got this one in a PSA 7. My guess was I was going to get a 9. It looked pretty good. There was a little bit of whitening in the back, but I still thought it looked nice for a 7. Once again, twice in a row, CGC agreed with me and gave it a 9. Pretty happy about that. There's a bit of value gain there, so that's great. Things are looking good. Up next, we have Raichu Fossil Hollow First Edition. That's 3 fossil cards in a row. This one I got in a PSA 8. Looks like he's kind of dancing a little bit, do a little jig. Of course, you see the old fat Pikachu style in the evolution stage 1 area up at the top. That's classic. I love seeing that too. But, you know, he's not the main focus of the card. Let's focus on Raichu, okay? It's all about Raichu, okay? Let's evolve our Pikachus into Raichu, okay? I'm always in that boat. I didn't keep him as Pikachu. I'm sorry, Ash. I'm sorry if you're upset, but I had to do it. He's stronger and better, okay? My guess was that I was going to get a 9.5, and CGC, for the 3rd time in a row, agreed with me and gave it a 9.5. I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in my guesses. Things are looking great. Moving on. Up next, we have Vaporeon First Edition Jungle Hollow. This one I got in a PSA 7 as well. It's always a risk to crack PSA 7s. It's always a risk to crack any of these because you'll get some unexpected results almost every submission, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Anyway, my guess was that it was going to get a 9, and look at that. CGC agreed once again. That's 4 cards in a row. Maybe I'm not such an idiot after all. Look at me now, Mom. You were wrong about me. Maybe not. Nice little gain here as well. Decent profit. Let's move on. Kingdra Neo Genesis First Edition Hollow. This one I got in a PSA 8, and my guess was that it was going to be an 8 as well. And here's the thing, right? And it's something that I'm starting to get better at is looking at hollow scratches on the scan. You can tell there's some hollow scratches near Kingdra's head. The rest of the card, however, looked really clean to me, and CGC, in its infinite wisdom, decided to give this card a 7. And there's an example of just the unexpected, right? See, there's no guarantee that every card you crack from PSA and send to CGC, even if you think it looks clean, will get a higher grade. So I'll just eat the loss on this one, unfortunately. I'll lose money on it. I'm okay with that. It's about taking risks. You can't win every time. Up next, we have Ampharos Neo Genesis First Edition Hollow. It's not too expensive of a card in the CGC 10, but I still really like the Neo Genesis cards. This one I got in a PSA 7. Again, I thought, man, this looks so clean. How can this be a 7? Look at those scans. There's barely any whitening. So my guess was that it was going to get a 9. Fairly confident in that. CGC gave it a 7.5, so only a half grade bump here. Safe to say I'm very disappointed in it. I'm not really quite sure what went wrong with it. I contemplated cracking it again to send to CGC, but it's not really worth it in terms of the monetary value to do so, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sell it at a loss. It's okay. Let's move on. See you later, Ampharos.
My head is a shining beacon for all those around. Oh, bye.
Okay, the 7th card in this submission is Heracross Neo Genesis First Edition Hollow. There's something interesting about this card. Okay, I got it in a PSA 7. My guess was that it was going to get a 9.5. I'll give you guys a moment to look at the scan and see if anyone can guess. Go ahead, put a comment in on the video and guess what you think is unique about this card, and we'll see if you're right or not. CGC gave it a 9, which is a little bit less than expected, but it's an additional ink error. I believe the area to the left of Heracross's face. So that's actually really cool. I'm not upset about that. The CGC 9s go for around 250. I'm just going to add another 100 for the additional ink. I'm not really quite sure. When I list it on eBay, I'll probably list it way higher and just look at what kind of offers I get if I get any. I think it's very unique, and from a collector's perspective, again, really cool card to have in your collection. Up next, we have Pichu Neo Genesis First Edition Hollow. It's the 4th Neo Genesis card in this submission, and it won't be the last, I'll tell you that, okay? Pichu is just so adorable. Everybody loves Pichu.
I love you this much.
Oh, so adorable. I got this one in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9.5. CGC gave it a 9. So still a grade bump here, but not much value gain at all. I'm hoping to just break around even on it. That's okay. Let's just keep going. Okay, up next is another Pichu Neo Genesis First Edition Holo. I also got this one in the PSA 8, and you can tell in the scan, there's like a vertical and a horizontal straight line of scratching. I, again, probably should have done a better job looking at it. My guess was at a 9.5, but hey, look, this is a learning process, okay? If you keep doing this, you kind of get a feel for what grades better and what doesn't with CGC compared to PSA. Looking at it now, it's like that probably deserved an 8. CGC ended up giving it an 8.5, which, okay, yeah, not great. We're still doing good so far with the submission. Not bad. I can't complain. We only have 110 so far, but that's okay. We have a lot of decent grade bumps and okay value bumps.
Up next is the angriest Pokemon on the face of the earth.
Typhlosion Neo Genesis First Edition Holo. This one I got in a PSA 9. And I said to myself, hey, every PSA 9, I mean, come on, that's an easy CGC 10. That's just easy, free money. At least that's what people tell me. My guess was that I was going to get a 10. CGC ended up giving this card a 9. So from a PSA 9 to a CGC 9. Now, luckily, the card's been going up a little bit, so I didn't really lose too much of a value there. And looking back at the scan, there's some whitening in the bottom. So I'm like, yeah, that probably does deserve a 9. It's a bit unfortunate, though. I, again, considered cracking it and regrading it, but I'm not going to. That's okay. Let's move on. An even angrier version of Typhlosion. Up next, we have Typhlosion Neo Genesis Holo. This is a more rarer card, and it's not in first edition. This one, again, as you can see, has pretty significant holo scratching. I got it in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9. CGC gave this card an 8.5, which, looking at again, I think is pretty fair. I'm not as angry as Typhlosion. I think he has some kind of head wound, and he can't really think straight right now.
Oh, man.
And up next is Dark Raichu Team Rocket Holo. Again, looking at this card, you can see some holo scratching. And just to be clear, I didn't use any kind of surface cleaners or anything. I like to just do raw cracking from PSA to CGC, but that doesn't mean in the future I might not try it out just to see what happens. But for this submission, I didn't touch up these cards at all. If anything, it was just a gentle microfiber cloth wipe or a light dusting. Anyway, so this one I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9. And CGC gave it a 9. So hey, at least they agreed with me. Can't complain about that. That's fine. Tiny little value gain there. Another angry card. Maybe that's like the current theme of this submission, is just every Pokemon is getting angry. Although this one's a bit more mischievous than angry, maybe. Dark Raichu just kind of like...
I took a dookie in your bowl of Doritos.
All right, let's go on to the next card. Up next, a magnificent card. We have Dark Charizard, First Edition Team Rocket Holo. I think it's an amazing card. I love it. Love the way he's just peering over his shoulder. Beautiful card. Iconic design. I got this one in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 10. I saw it. I'm like, this looks really great. It's always a gamble when you go for these expensive cards. It paid off because CGC gave it a 10, which is fantastic. That's officially our best card of this submission, where things are looking great. I'm ecstatic. I'm jumping up and down for joy. I'm doing a little dance. Big value jump. Great stuff. Latias EX Dragon Holo. Latias is one of my favorite legendaries, at least probably my favorite Gen 3. I like all the legendaries between Gen 1 and Gen 3 for the most part. I think they're incredible. I noticed there's a little bit of a corner ding when I bought it, but I was like, you know, that's okay. CGC can be a bit lenient on corners, which I think is pretty fair sometimes. So my guess was that it was going to get a 9.5, and CGC gave it a 9, which is fine. A little bit of value gain. That's cool because the card has been slowly rising, which as most of these vintage cards have been, as pretty much all of Pokemon has been, just continuing to go up and up and up, and I'm sure it'll never stop, right? I have no idea what's going to happen. Please do not take any advice from me because I have no idea. So yeah, not bad, but let's move on. Gardevoir EX Sandstorm Holo. This card I got in a PSA 8, and it's a card that just invokes a feeling of serenity and bliss.
Oh, la da 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 dee, la da 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 do.
My guess was that it was going to get an 8 because the second I cracked it out, I noticed pretty significant scratching. I believe these cards kind of have a lot of scratching all over because I believe the holo kind of extends throughout the whole border of the card. I didn't have high hopes for this. CGC gave it a 9. So, hey, the fact that it graded 1 higher, that's great. Tiny little minuscule value gain. And again, looking at this card, I can't be upset. I feel at peace when I look at it. Korokoro Mew, this card I got in a PSA 7. When I cracked this card, I thought it looked pretty pristine. The centering looks fine to me, definitely within 10 range. The back looked fine to me. I know there's like a little white spot in the back of that scan, but that's just a debris in the slab. It's not actually on the card. It looked incredible to me. So my guess, again, I guess it was going to get a 10, which would be an insane value bump if it did. Now, unfortunately, I don't know. I must have missed something, or maybe I shoved my eyes in a bucket of mud and I couldn't see a damn thing because CGC gave it a 7. Now, the good news here is that the card has been steadily going up, so technically I didn't really lose too much in value. It's about break-even price. I really don't think it deserves a 7 personally. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna give it one more shot. So I cracked it out of the CGC slab and I'm sending it back. Again, there's no guarantees in this hobby, and I'm also curious to test CGC consistency, and we'll go over it in a future video. I'm really curious to see if they'll give it a 7 again, or maybe lower, maybe higher. I guess we'll see. There's no way of knowing. This is such a fantastic card. I'm a huge fan of Lugia. This one I got in a PSA 9. My guess was that I was going to get a 10. It looks great. Again, I thought PSA 9s, you know, were almost a shoe-in for CGC 10s, right? Easy. Well, CGC didn't agree with me. CGC gave this card an 8. So this is the first time ever that I've sent a PSA 9 and CGC gave it an 8. I did not expect this at all. This is what I'm talking about. Expect the unexpected when you're grading because you have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't understand it. So I ended up cracking this guy out again, and I'm going to send it back and see what CGC gives it. If they give it an 8 again, so be it. I'll probably end up selling it. But I really do think it deserves another shot. Definitely the most disappointing part of this video and this submission, but I'll tell you what, it gets amazing from here. Let's go on to the next card. Giovanni's Persian, first edition gym challenge holo. This one I got in a PSA 8 and I thought it looked beautiful. I thought it was gonna get a 10 was my guess. This really made my day. It absolutely made this submission probably one of the best I've ever done because CGC gave it a pristine 10, which is absolutely insane. It's worth around $4,000. The last one sold was about $3,500, but there was another $4,000 sale earlier. There was a PSA 10 sale for about $4,500. So I think $4,000 is a fair value for this. Also, vintage keeps going up. So I cannot believe that this happened. I have officially peaked. You can't get better than that. A PSA 8 to a CGC Pristine 10. Can we just sit on that for a moment and realize what happened? My happiness cannot be measured by any tools made by humans. We must contact aliens, for new technology must be invented to understand the depths of the happiness in my soul. You could potentially argue that it might not deserve a pristine 10, but hey, look, I've seen worse pristine 10s. I've seen worse PSA 10s. You gotta take the win. In general, it's a very clean card. Also, there's a little swirl to the left of Persian there too, which is always nice, right? A nice vintage swirl. Well, it's beautiful. Okay, second to last card in this submission is the Machamp first edition Shadowless. I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9.5. CGC gave it a 9, which is okay. A tiny little value bump. It's fine. I don't know how he chooses food or if he has dentures or something. I'm pretty sure Machoke has teeth. Maybe they all drop out when he evolves. Sometimes you ever wonder what it would be like if you had 4 arms? Machamp, if only I could be you for a day. Last card in the submission. I always love throwing the Spoon Man into submissions. And by Spoon Man, I mean Alakazam. He's always got his spoons. You cannot part his spoons with him. Don't even try it. I love the Shadowless base set. This one I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9. I bought it full well knowing that there was a bit of corner ding in the back top right, and the rest of the card looks very clean. So I think it'll get at least a 9. And technically I was right. CGC gave it a 9.5, which is awesome. More than double the value of the card. All right, let's go over the final results of the submission. So out of the 20 cards I sent, I only got 3 10s, but those are really great value gains. So my total cost was about $4,500, a little under $4,500. And the total value for this submission is now $11,500. So that's a profit of almost $7,200. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna give myself a nice S grade. Not quite an S plus because I think we can do a little better, but a definitely big fat S. Super excited. What a great submission. Definitely needed that after the last one where I pretty much broke even on my CGC submission. I have 6 other submissions out at the moment, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.